Hello everyone, today I'm in Church Lane in the centre of the city of Sunderland. We're going to visit Sunderland Minster, well, not the church itself, more the actual churchyard. I love this old lane running alongside the church, and as you come down here you've got this absolutely gorgeous Edwardian pub called the Dun Cow. I think it's Edwardian 1901 or something like that. Yeah, it's up the top. And then there's the Empire Theatre. Hamilton's on at the moment, so there's lots of people arriving for that. I don't know if it's done, actually. But, see, there's the old sign for Church Lane. Just a bit of background. We're in what used to be Bishopwearmouth, and this was the parish, Bishopwearmouth Parish Church. It's also called St Michael and I think the Angels or All Angels or something along those lines. But now it's Sunderland Minster. I think it's been the Minster since about the 1930s. I'm not going to go into the history of the church because you can just go and Google that and it'll tell you when it was built and so on. But it's had a number of changes over the year. It wasn't originally this big, and on each occasion, obviously, they've had to take down headstones in the churchyard. Now, back in the day, there was Bishopwearmouth, which is this area around the old medieval village green. There was Monkwearmouth, which is across the river, and then there was Sunderland down in the East End. So the people in Sunderland didn't have their own parish church, so they had to come up traipse all the way up here for baptisms and marriages and burials and so on until 1719, when the Holy Trinity was built, which is Sunderland Parish Church. So there's not many headstones left standing, and the reason for that is each time the church was extended, some were taken down, but also it was the 1930s or 40s, it was decided to turn it into like a garden of remembrance, which is what happened to St Peter's and also the East End. So sadly, a lot of the history is lost. Some of them are in the actual pavements and so on, but I'll show you here, right? If I can get through here, jump over 2 seconds. See this slope down here? This was put in the 1930s because they took down some buildings which were stood on High Street West here so people could get a better view of the church. So if you look down here, this slope is an artificial one. So for I think over a couple of hundred years you probably wouldn't have had as good a view as you did of the actual Minster. A number of bodies, remains were removed from that particular slope. So I'll tell you what we'll do, we'll just have a look at some of the headstones. Now I don't know why this random selection was kept here, and to be honest I don't know if this was the original positions or whether they were recited. Look at that. Sacred to the memory of William Wilson, mariner, son of Robinson and Mary Wilson, who died October 30th, 1837, aged 24 years. Fair as the rose, and then loomed on this bleak soil, then drooped and died in hope to shine in serene something. Also Hannah Salgeld. I've never noticed that epitaph before. I work nearby, so I walk past this every day really. But the churchyard was officially closed. It was October 1848, apart from if there was space in an existing burial spot. Otherwise, everybody was pretty much buried across the Gill Cemetery, which I've done a couple of videos, which is not far away actually. Now look at this. Here lies the body of Newark Reveley, coal fitter, who departed this life the 5th day of January 1812, aged 65 years, and also Catherine Reveley. And then we've got down here, this is just what's left. This is the stump in memory of, it's somebody, Burlinson, an engineer, who died August 1834, I think that is. go back there. I wanted to show you something down here. This video, I've just realised, it might either be in 2 parts, or I might, if it overruns, add it onto the first one, because I've got a laptop now, so I can sort of do some basic editing type of stuff. But as you can see, there's one headstone laid into the floor, which obviously is not very good because people walk on it. But here's a couple of here, right? See that one there? That's somebody's daughter, I think it was Mary Reid. I found out who she actually was. If you go on Facebook and search the writings on the wall, or I might put it on my Facebook page again. It was a Mary Reid and a brother Richard. And there's another one. There's only 2 I've ever found in the wall, but have a look at this group of headstones here. If my voice is a bit hoarse, because I was out in Newcastle yesterday for an afternoon out, so a bit delicate today. So this one's a fine one. This is to the memory of Mr. Samuel Hodgson, who with 16 others, he drowned. There was a ferry crossing. He was a Methodist minister, and it sort of overturned, and the figures of how many died varies. Some would say 21, some say 17, some say 19. Sadly tipped over somewhere down between Bishopwearmouth and the East End. But it's actually double-sided, this one. Also, if you do like Bishopwearmouth history, there's an app called Echoes, and on there it has like geo walks where if you walk past it, you can hear stories about particular places. So if you go on that and look for a Sunderland one, I'm actually on a couple of I think at least 2 of the audio clips if you walk around this area on that. That's Echoes, it's called, the app, but it's a Sunderland walk. I think it's the first one on the list. But look at them, there's loads down here. A lot of them are worn away, but when it snows you can get a good idea of the names. But there is a few in the past, but this isn't all of the headstones. A lot of them I think were actually destroyed as well. The ones which were damaged or weren't 100% legible, which is what happened at Sunderland Parish Church as well. So sometimes, look at this. Who departed this life November at 17 something, aged 66 years. It's a shame to think of all the history that was on these particular headstones. And as for why everywhere is called Sunderland now, my own theory is that in the 1830s there was a parliamentary constituency created, which was Sunderland. It was given the name Sunderland rather than Monkwearmouth and Bishopwearmouth, and because there was a parliamentary constituency, when the borough of Sunderland was created in the 1830s, I think they just basically copied the name of the constituency. That's just my own theory, but Bishopwearmouth was the largest of the 3 parishes. What's that? Eleanor Cogden, the beloved wife of William Cogden, who died November the 20th, 1837. I'm just looking through the camera now. It's actually clearer to see than it is with your naked eyes. That's a loving wife, a friend sincere, a tender mother lieth here. There's also a daughter, Margaret Allison, who died June 25th, 1829, aged 32 years. There's a James Bennell there. There's members of the Vaux family down here, which I'm assuming are related to Cuthbert Vaux the Viewer. There is a Cuthbert Vaux mentioned on here. But, who's this? Erected to the memory of William Dodd Mason. And look at this. Reader. Let's see if I can see it through the camera. Oh yeah, it's Reader. Through the camera. But it's basically a memento mori epitaph advising the reader that basically you must die. Think this the day. Oh, it's difficult to read that one, but you get the gist. Basically, memento mori is basically advising you that remember you will die. There's no getting out of it, and prepare to meet to meet it and just be ready. And this one here, remember on that, there's no rats today. Last time I was here, I found about 5-6 rats jumped out. And that's William Tone, died, I think that's 10th of November 1850, age 57. So the churchyard was closed at this point, but he must have had some available family, like a family vault with space in it. And we've got Catherine Diston, and then Thomas Kelton. See, look at this. That's beautiful, that. Is it a cherub? Loads of rat boxes. And along here is a headstone. Well, it's not a headstone. I think it must have been in the church. Because originally, if you're well-to-do, you generally were buried within the church, in vaults or under the floor. And the poor people were outside. And look at this. The burial place of John Oyston. And I think the Roman year was, when I remember, it was 18, something like 22 or 18 or 7. I can't remember. But could never find who it actually was. There wasn't one specific person. You could narrow it down, but the grand stone. There's even some down here around by the bins. Probably see it better on if I point the camera down. Benjamin Heward, son of the above. His father was Benjamin Heward as well, but one of them was a shipbuilder. I think another one was an auctioneer, one of the two. But he was known as the man who couldn't launch ships. He could build them, but he had difficulty launching them onto the river. And they had a grand house down near the Saltcross in Deptford. See, from this point on, it's pretty much empty of headstones. That's a nice view. It's lovely on a sunny day. Look at that. There's a couple more. There's a couple of fine ones around the corner here, going back to the 1730s, 1740s, I think, with a brilliant epitaph. Apologies if any wind's coming through on the camera. It's a very windy day. Look at that. It's always windy. Look how high up we are compared to Low Road. It wasn't originally this high, but obviously tens of thousands of burials sort of risen. I've got the actual full words of this somewhere on Facebook, actually. And this is for a pair of parents. It was Richard Blackstone, I think his wife Mary, and it must have been from his children. Let's see if I can see it. In him, divine, he was, most humbly did his, a husband, good, parent, something, and you've got kind, a friend in most, his beauty, his bounty, blessings. I have to cut and paste that onto something so you can read it, but it's a beautiful epitaph. It's literally children must be praising the parents. I think that was originally because George Garbutt in the 1820s had a book, and he went into the church and he wrote down like all the epitaphs and that were in there, and he mentions that was in the church. We've got here, in memory of William Preston, slate merchant, late of Leeds, formerly of this place, son of Anthony and Elizabeth Preston. So it's actually made of blue slate, this headstone. The Preston family were a slating family for several generations. He originally came from Westmoreland, across over here. And I think this might possibly be the oldest one. And this is this. Hannah, wife of Ellis Viriard of Sunderland, Gent, and daughter of William Eyre, Hannah, wife of Box in the county of Wilts, Esquire, aged something years, lies here, December 28th, Anno Domini 1716. So I think that's the oldest reference I've come across there for a year and there. Literally, apart from a couple more, that's all the headstones that are left. And if you see old pictures online of what the churchyard looked like, there was a hell of a lot more than what's in these pavements. Sad really, because it's a lot of history was lost. And then there's these random ones placed against the wall down here. Let's have a look. That's Francis, their daughter and first child, who died 14th of September 1841, aged 12 years. Oh, so that is the bottom half of this one. An affectionate remembrance of John Wright of Bishopwearmouth. He was a gentleman who died December the 10th, January 1834, aged 80 years. And then there's Mary. But this one here, sacred to the memory of Sarah Taylorson, daughter of John of Bishopwearmouth. See how they say Bishopwearmouth and not Sunderland? And then the last two, it's a shame the sun's not out because it's beautiful when the sun's out. And then we've got Alice, wife of George Shields, who died, and that's, was it October the 4th, 1820, aged 41 years. And then we have a list of members of the Goodchild family. Robert Goodchild of Rye, he died 1786, aged 74 years. Alice's widow, 1782. I think this was put up decades after most of these people died, because if you look how more up to date it looks, and there's Jonathan Longbottom. We've got the old and the new. We've got the 1960s or 70s tower blocks towering over the almshouses. And there's the Minster. Changed so much. If you look at old pictures, it's actually deceptively large inside. And if you ever get the chance, have a pop in, because it's full of memorials on the wall, and like, not just for like the Great War and things like that, but like the great and the good from back in the 1700s and 1800s are all around the actual church. So there we have it, churchyard of Sunderland Minster. If you did enjoy that video, please give it a like and click on the subscribe. It will help grow the channel. Just one other thing, I've started deleting lots of the older videos off the channel because they're crap. So just if you look for any of the old ones, obviously I didn't have a laptop at the time, I didn't know how to do some of the stuff. It was just basically trial and error and so on. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care everyone, bye.